gone through my whole life, and it's just been now that I've been able to tie everything together. And that's adrenal fatigue. And if you've ever gotten to the point, and I know it sounds so cliche, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And anybody who's had this, I guarantee you, has said it at least once. They don't know what's wrong, they're confused, they're frustrated, you've got all these things going on, nobody can help you, nobody wants to help you, and you feel sort of isolated. It started probably when I was a teenager. I had mononucleosis when I was 16. I never really recovered from that, but something changed. And for years, I lived overseas at that time. They tested me for like every tropical disease. Couldn't find anything. I showed classic thyroid symptoms, but when tests came back, you know, I wasn't within the parameters of anything. Then when I came back to the States, I ended up with chronic fatigue syndrome. And let me tell you that everything is real. It's, yeah, I slept more than 12 hours a day, and I still had to sleep during my lunch hour to get through the day when I was working. I got over that and then went into fibromyalgia. And then when I moved down to Tennessee, I was just a broken person. And sort of my last straw that I had was going to the doctor. I had a strange pain, and I mean pain. I mean, this is like people putting 2 knives in my back around where my kidneys are and twisting them for about a week, constantly. And because this happened, I'm sorry guys, because this happened during my monthly cycle, the doctor so wisely said, well, since it only happens then, we're just going to put you on birth control pills permanently so you won't have a monthly cycle. That was their idea of fixing it. So shortly after that, I found a holistic doctor and started going, and they were able to diagnose me right away and get me on a new path. So I ask anybody, are you experiencing many strange symptoms that you know are somehow connected? And that's how we feel, but you don't know how. One of the main things, do you have an exaggerated startle response? Are you more jumpy than other people? And if so, it's a pretty good hint that your nervous system is stuck in a state of stress. Adrenal fatigue is simply an alternate name for the condition known as General Adaptation Syndrome, or GAS, which they started naming in the 1930s. Adrenal fatigue is a term used since the 1990s, mostly by naturopathic doctors and others in alternative medicine. That's why you won't hear conventional doctors talking about adrenal fatigue. This is also known as post-traumatic stress disorder. That was added in 1980. Burnout syndrome, term first appeared in 1982. Chronic fatigue syndrome, defined by the CDC in 1988. I tell you, I had it before that. Chronic stress is the root cause. And stressors are cumulative. The more events you're exposed to, the more likely you will become ill. A 10-year study found that stress is so damaging to your body, it is more likely to cause cancer than smoking. And even conventional medicine recognizes this, although it is poorly understood by almost all doctors. There's where the confusion is when you're trying to explain this. Some people are usually given several prescriptions, not just one, to treat specific symptoms. So here we are covering up the symptoms again. So they may get something for anxiety, depression, insomnia, libido, pain, etc. These prescriptions, they usually don't help very much. They might reduce or cover up a few symptoms, and while many other symptoms remain. And if you complain too much about the other symptoms, it will be implied that it's all in your head, and you would likely be referred to a therapist. Women were often given the diagnosis of female hysteria. Remember that many years ago. The important thing to remember is all these symptoms result from being stuck in a state of chronic stress for many years. So total stress, which is the cumulative stress we have, is emotional, physical, environmental, inherited, and I add in spiritual and mental. We have stresses in all areas of our life. Now, which also include excessive exercise. You've probably seen this. People push themselves too hard. There is a point of doing that. Pain and stress, stimulants. Anybody who lives on coffee? Temperatures, hot and cold stress, toxins, viruses, allergies, noise-related stress, and electromagnetic fields. That's a really big one these days. We are surrounded in our homes, our offices, our cars, everything by electromagnetic fields. That disrupts the body. So there's 3 stages to adrenal fatigue. The first is the alarm phase. So when they tested rats for a period of 6 to 48 hours after a stressor was induced, they experienced a decrease in the size of the thymus and the spleen, which are both important for the immune system, lymph glands, and the liver. That means the immune system is weakened during this stage, which is why a lot of people under stress are more prone to becoming sick. Resistance is stage 2. This is a key stage. During the second stage, as chronic stress continues, you adapt to the stress and you have an increased ability to deal with the stress. This is a false sense of healing. At this point, the adrenal glands become greatly enlarged, which makes sense because they are being asked to produce a large amount of adrenal hormones. During the stage, you feel like an energy machine. Again, you've probably seen that. People come in and like, oh, I can keep going, I can keep going. We've probably worked with people like that. They take on more jobs at work, take on more in their personal life. Oh, I can just keep on doing that. No amount of stress seems to bother you. The constant triggering of the sympathetic nervous system makes you sympathetic dominant with an exaggerated startle, which gives you an above average stress response. So it looks like you're handling stress, but you're not really. You probably have developed fast reflexes and an exaggerated startle response at this point. Since you feel great, you don't realize you're charging towards the next stage and will eventually crash. You feel like a machine and can handle more stress than normal since your enlarged adrenal glands are capable of producing high levels of epinephrine and other hormones nonstop. And that's critical. When you're under chronic stress and constant stress, your body is now pumping stress hormones nonstop, just all the time, 24 hours a day. Stage 3 is exhaustion. I've been through this. As you move through the stages of adrenal fatigue, it catches up with you and the immune system collapses. Symptoms in stage 3 closely match the symptoms in stage 1. The rats in the test lost their resistance to stress. Organs begin to fail again like they did in stage 1. And when you get to this point, you have entered adrenal burnout. And that's the point that I was at with the extreme pain. And we'll come up with that next. It's more common in women. One is estrogen and fear conditioning. It could be the main reason why women are more prone to adrenal fatigue. And an example of fear conditioning is how somebody might be terrified of all dogs if they've been attacked by a dog. So every time they see a dog, it triggers this response. They would tend to be jumpy or have an exaggerated startle response. Estrogens exert important actions on fear and anxiety-like behavior both in animals and humans and non-human animals. So it seems that women may be more prone to becoming stuck in a state of stress or fear conditioning after being exposed to stressors. Menstrual cycles induce hormone changes. Adrenal hormones increase during the menstrual cycle, and the adrenal glands are involved in the menstrual cycle. So that directly related to why I was getting the extreme pain just during my monthly cycle. And the doctors didn't look into this. They didn't care. Oh, well, you're in pain, we'll just stop the pain. Cover it up. So compared to men, women's adrenals seem to have some extra work to do every month. And one study showed changes in cortisol and the ACTH level 1. ACTH is produced by your pituitary gland, which stimulates the adrenal glands. So menstrual cycles result in your adrenal glands having to produce increased hormones due to stimulation from the pituitary gland. That makes it a stressor. Menstrual cycle also has mood changes. Negative emotions are a source of stress. The emotions that are most damaging are rage, unforgiveness, depression, anger, worry, frustration, fear, grief, and guilt. Even healthy women tend towards more negative emotions during their menstrual cycle. Therefore, even healthy women experience a little stress every month due to negative emotions. Pregnancy. Adrenal hormone cortisol increases during pregnancy, and your adrenal glands actually grow during pregnancy. So there's a big stressor for women that get pregnant. Zinc and copper imbalance in women. Women are more prone to this imbalance, and zinc is lost at a high rate during stress. And women are more prone to undereating, and undereating is a source of stress. So some of the symptoms I'll read through real quick. This is just really only a few, but I picked the most highest percentage out of the list. Chronic and long-lasting fatigue, often tired in the evening but resist going to bed only to feel wide awake at bedtime. You feel exhausted, but your mind won't stop racing in bed. Often severe insomnia, afternoon energy crash, sleep for long periods of time, night sweats and chills, anxiety for no apparent reason, depression, poor short-term memory and concentration, impatient, very easily annoyed, no motivation, lack of emotions, kind of numb or weepy, foggy thinking, irritability, worries constantly, lower back pain, muscle weakness, a lot of times the legs are weak when going up steps, grinding of teeth when sleeping, muscle wasting, cracked heels, fingertips are smooth, no fingerprints, bone pain, bone aches, thinning eyebrows, joint pain, stiff joints, salt cravings, extreme hunger, even after eating, hypoglycemia or blood sugar problems, chocolate cravings, frequent gasps or sighs, irritable bowel syndrome, frequent urination, eye floaters. That explains, my eye doctor couldn't explain why I have so many eye floaters, but now I see it all tying together. Blurred vision or trouble focusing, flashes of light with eyes closed, nearsightedness, bright light sensitivity, tinnitus. I know a lot of people with tinnitus. Unable to tolerate low temperatures, cold hands and feet, heat sensitivity, intolerant of high temperatures. I joke with people, I say, I have a 3-degree temperature tolerance, 72 to 74. You know that, I'm too cold or I'm too hot. Metallic taste in the mouth. This was fascinating when I found this article. Nobody has ever been able to tell me why I constantly had a metallic taste in my mouth. I'm so glad to find that it ties in with everything else. Dizziness or loss of balance, sharp pains or dull ache in the area of the adrenal glands, environmental sensitivities to things like perfume, chemicals, wood dust, electrosensitivity, and very little perspiration. Again, this is a very short list really overall, but it's ones that people reported most. So what we can do for adrenal fatigue, one basic thing is really avoid stimulants. Because the more stimulants you have, you're trying to tell your adrenal glands to pump out more adrenaline. So you don't want to do that. Right now you want to rest and you want to have them heal. You want supplements, and this would be a whole food supplement, not anything with synthetics in it, because again, with synthetics you're going to start stressing your body because your body cannot handle synthetics very well, and it puts stress on the kidney and the liver to process synthetic. Homeopathy, meditation, gentle exercise like white walking, yoga, tai chi. You want to get your body moving, but again, you don't want to stress it right now while you're healing. Breathing exercises, nutritional balancing. This is really important. You've got to change your diet. There are things to supplement and to heal adrenals and stay away from some things. This would also include doing a detox, especially a heavy metal detox, is get those things out. That's, again, a stressor in the body. Herbal tinctures and essential oils. So this has been my lifelong journey, and this is one reason that I come out and I want to help people with theirs, and I want everybody to feel good.